Powered by Riverside FM.
Today we have a very special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I am the Queen G22. I'm having a bad hair day, but it is what it is. I don't know. Yeah, that's me. Just the Queen G22, social media stuff. Not really a Twitch streamer or anything. Just a diehard Donatello fan and Ninja Turtle fan, really. And retro gaming. People only think of me as just a Ninja Turtle fan, but I'm a huge retro gamer as well.
Very cool. So tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into collecting and your first interaction with the Ninja Turtles.
Oh gosh, where to begin? So I guess it would have started in the 80s. Like the late 80s. Ninja Turtles was the after day thing, right? Like the cartoons. After school, me and my brother would throw our books on the ground and then sit in front of the TV and we would watch the Ninja Turtle cartoons. And it just really became something that my brother and I grew a really good relationship collecting Ninja Turtles and playing with them after school. So the Ninja Turtles have like a special place in my heart because it just brings back really good memories. Same thing with retro gaming. My first console was a Nintendo. I remember going to have you heard of like Kmart or anything like that? Have you heard of
yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember Kmart? So
I do.
Kmart, we went to Kmart with my parents, and my mother was like, we're taking this home. And we played Nintendo like every day, every night. Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, the Smash, the collab. And
oh, yeah.
Right? You remember that one? And so
I do.
That was pretty much the beginning of that. I was hooked on playing with my Ninja Turtles and playing Nintendo with my brother every day after school up until I graduated, really, from high school.
Very cool. Yeah, I remember watching the Ninja Turtles cartoons in the evening. Here, it was somewhere around 5:30 in the afternoons.
Oh, you guys, you know what? That makes sense, right? Because I'm in California. And so it was like around 2:30, 3:30 or whatever for us. Yeah. So it was like right after school for us. And that was like the thing. And then I think also like Saturday mornings or something like that.
Yeah.
That was the thing to do, to sit and watch Saturday mornings with our bowl of cereal. It was probably like Captain Crunch or Cinnamon Toast Crunch was my favorite. So yeah, I've pretty much been stuck in this world for a long time.
Yeah, and hey, I mean, they have a cult following, with all the iterations that they've had from, the original movies and cartoons to where they're at now.
You're talking about the Ninja Turtles?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's huge. I have an old soul, so I didn't jump into Instagram until 2019 or something like that. And I thought it was stupid because I was like, why do I need Instagram when I can see what all my friends are doing on Facebook, right? I've always been a person that's just needed less stuff, right? And I remember the first Ninja Turtle post that came across my feed. And once I learned how to start following all these amazing Ninja Turtle accounts was when I realized that I wasn't the only person in this world that is still in love with the Ninja Turtles. I had no idea that the community behind TMNT is ridiculously large. It's huge.
Yes.
Yeah, I had no idea, and it's pretty awesome, especially a lot of people that are around my age, still going hard. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an 80s kid also, so I mean,
Right
I feel like everything cartoon-wise and everything that was geared towards kids of the 80s is more iconic than anything else.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, what was another big following is like the Power Rangers, right? Which is around the same time. All that other crap like He-Man and I don't even freaking know, G.I. Joes and, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I was playing with all of those. And it was funny because my mom's best friend would always bring me like Barbies for my birthday, right? So I actually had a pretty huge collection of Barbies. Their only purpose was just to be like the bad guys for my Ninja Turtles to defeat, So I didn't want them. I wanted the Ninja Turtles. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and with the whole retro gaming thing, my first system was the original Nintendo, and you don't get that interaction with games like you used to, where if it didn't work, take it out, blow in the cartridge, and try it again.
Yeah, and what about like in the booklets, they would have the hotline that you could call if you were having problems beating a level. You could call like the Super Nintendo kid that would walk you through the levels. Like, I mean, now we have YouTube, to show you how to beat stuff. But that nostalgia of getting together with kids and or packing up your whole Super Nintendo, putting in your backpack and going to your neighbor's house. We just don't have that type of camaraderie. There you go. That's the word. In today's gaming. And not to say I'm not playing today's games. I totally am. But when I come into my game room and I have a choice between playing, Turtles in Time or playing something new like Warzone or some shit, I'm playing Turtles in Time.
Yeah, I don't blame you. And, the older systems, the graphics, even though for today's standards, they're not great, but you look back on it and they were just the best, and they still are, because there's nothing like it.
Yeah, there never will be anything like it. And now you can now there's a whole bunch of new games coming out, right? But they've got that pixelated look to it, right? So they're trying to target the old school group to play these newer games because they look like the games we grew up on.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've tried them. I have, but it's just not the same. And I think about you remember Battletoads?
Yes.
Battletoads, right? So for whatever reason, when people ask me what's your favorite game, back in the day, I always, obviously I say TMNT and then I say Battletoads. And then when I play it, I'm thinking, can I cuss on your stream? Should I be careful?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why the fuck did I adore that game so much? They're so hard, right? And I never beat Battletoads. I never beat Ninja Turtles until this Cowabunga collection came out. I know I can beat it now. But games now, if I get stuck, I just don't want to play it anymore. I'm just like, what, fuck this game, is stupid. But the games back then, because we didn't know if we were going to get more games, you just kept playing it, and it was still a good game, even though it was crazy hard.
Yeah. And, within the retro games, my wife and I got when they re-released the Nintendo.
The top loader?
No, it was the one that's already preloaded.
Oh, okay. Oh, you mean like an emulator?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I don't remember some of those games being that hard.
They weren't. They were. That's why we had to use those freaking hotlines to try to, like, get through them. But I was watching a speedrunner play Battletoads, and they have to use a special kind of controller at a certain level. The one where you're like using like a pinwheel or something to go up the walls and shit. That's the only way you can beat the game, seriously. And we didn't have those type of controllers. Like, the games were so hard. It stresses me out when I think about it, but I loved it. I did. Double Dragon used to whoop my ass. I still love it. It's still one of my favorites. I don't care. I can't beat it. Yeah, but I love it.
And I think it's really cool that they're starting to, like you said, re-release some of these games and turn some of the newer stuff into, the pixelated versions, because we had things like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Never beat it.
Which
also whipped my ass.
That was hard.
So hard. Crazy hard. And that little Mac, right? Is that his name? Like, I still adore him, but I suck.
I think so. Yeah, and it's, and then as they advanced in gaming from that to, like the Super NES, then you jumped into some of the Sega stuff, the N64s and PlayStations. They just got harder and harder and harder.
Yeah, they did.
It opened a whole new world of what was possible too.
One of my top 3 favorite games is Final Fight. I never beat that game by myself. I think I beat it later with the emulator when I had like unlimited lives. But Mike Haggard that's my guy. Like I love that guy, but I couldn't beat the game. And then the other games, I couldn't beat it unless I had my brother to help me, so we could play together. Those games were they were eye-opening, it was a new thing, and it was a special time, I guess. It's not the same.
Yeah, and it's like, being in the late 70s and having Atari and having those kind of things where there's just, even as simple as those things were, there's nothing like it. There's no experience you're going to get. Granted, playing online can be fun, but you're right. It's not like going to a friend's house and linking them together and having 2 separate TVs. And
heck yeah, that whole thing, or just sitting next to each other and playing the game. Do you remember like A mode? There was like A mode and B mode, and right, so like A mode, you couldn't attack your teammate, but if B mode, then you could hit, your teammate. And so like when me and my brother were like in a really good mood, then we would be like, "Oh, let's play B mode," right? And then it only takes one accident. Once you start and you get into your combo and you can't stop it, but the other person gets caught up in that combo, and then you end up fucking up your teammate. Like, I can remember not talking to my brother for days because I got caught up in a combo. He killed me, took my life, and then, I'm done, and I'm just like, you know what, dude, fuck you. And he's like, it was your fault. Like, we don't have that type of unnecessary drama in our games. But I mean, I still wanted to play, but I would just be like, dude, you stay on that side of the screen, I'll stay on this side of the screen and try to get done. I miss fighting with my brother over that type of stuff, or just being like, no, we need to play A mode because we don't want to fight.
Exactly. And the arcade systems that we have now aren't the same either, because I can remember playing Ninja Turtles on the arcade, in an arcade,
right,
in the mall.
Well, that was an experience in itself. I think I told this story like a lot of times. It's not even really a story. It's just Friday nights, we would get excited, my brother and I, because our parents would take us down the street to Rico's Pizza, right? It was like a 2-minute drive. We'd go to Rico's Pizza. They would always order pepperoni. It would take them 30 minutes to bring out the fucking pizza. And by that time, we would go to the little corner of the restaurant and we would play the arcades. And it was always Turtles in Time, Mortal Kombat, and The Simpsons. And then, you know, like a driving game. And just that experience in itself, like, okay, I only have $3 worth of quarters, so I can't play Simpsons today, right? Because Simpsons was always expensive. It was like 50 cents to play versus the other games were 25 cents to play. You know, like we don't have that now. It's just different.
Yeah, exactly.
Good times though, really good times.
Oh yeah, yeah. The interactions that you would have, you know, just going to an arcade. You know, I can remember that taught you a lot about how to make friends, and you know, you met new people every time you went.
Were you one of those kids that would like put your quarter on the thing and you're like, I got next?
Yep. Oh yeah.
I would get intimidated. Like there's like a group of boys that were playing an arcade. I was like a dorky looking little thing, and if there was like a group of kids playing at arcade, then I would just play like Pac-Man or some shit, you know, until they dispersed, and then I would go play. But I was never like bold enough to like put my quarter up. But I would tell my brother to. I did, dude, put your quarter up, play next. But I never did.
We actually have a arcade museum here that has a wide range of arcade games, from stuff like Pac-Man up to, you know, the newer stuff like consoles.
Museum? Like, so they must have a lot of stuff then.
They do, yeah. And you can go in. It's like a small fee. You can just go in. You can play whatever you want for a certain period of time, and then.
Oh, that's awesome! So you pay up front, and then you can just go in and play.
Yep.
That's really cool. We don't have anything like that. All our shit costs money. It's always, you know, you got to put your quarters in like it was. But I mean, that shit, goddamn, it's expensive.
Oh yeah.
It's like $10 just to get like through like 3 levels or something like that. I was at an arcade the other day and we were playing like a marble game. I don't remember which one, but it was one of those dope ones where, you know, the graphics were just amazing only on the arcade version. And I must have died 3 or 4 times on each level. I don't know how much money we spent, so I don't miss that part.
Exactly. But, you know, like you said, being able to meet up with your friends and just have a good old time and bicker and you just don't have that. It's different.
No, we don't. So now with like this Cowabunga collection, which I actually haven't played yet. I've been working a lot this week, and I got it on Xbox and I got it on Nintendo. So my Nintendo version hasn't came in yet, but my Xbox has. But there's something about playing Nintendo games on a Nintendo. I'd rather just wait until they get here. But they have some of those games on there that you can actually play online. So that's cool that you can, you know, play with your friends on these games that we used to play with our friends with, but we were in the same location, you know, we weren't in a different place. So I was thinking,
exactly.
That's gonna kind of suck. These games come out, and I mean, it's still cool, all the features that they added, but you know, you want to play with friends. I mean, I think that's one of the things about video gaming is it's not just like to kill time or, you know, to help us nerdy kids develop hand-eye coordination, you know, stuff like that, but it builds relationships.
Exactly. So I'm curious about the collection that you have as far as Ninja Turtles, and I saw you had some other stuff too.
For Ninja Turtles or just
in
general?
All right.
Ninja Turtles, yeah. So I keep fighting myself with this. Like, I don't think that if I'm considered a collector, then it's a very specific collector because I only will purchase statues or newer Donatellos that are not remakes, right? So my collection mostly consists of a lot of the original Playmate toys, the Ninja Turtles, because they were actually from my childhood. So, and I'm not knocking any collectors that do this. I love it. But all the mocks and the remakes, I'm not going out and purchasing those because I have the originals. What do they call? Super 7 figures that are doing a lot of remakes, but now they're making them newer. I'm not purchasing those. I purchased Donatellos, but like the Mondo Geckos and the Triceratons and that look like the originals, but they're just newer. I didn't purchase those. So my collection is my original turtles, a lot of statues. I am in love with whatever Sideshow puts together with Ninja Turtles. Some custom statues, some custom Donatellos, and I am kind of lying. I have went out and purchased quite a few of original Playmates Donatellos that I did not own as a child, but it's Donnie, and now I can't afford to have him. So I went and I got like Farmer Don with his little pipe. He was a pretty penny, and I went and purchased the exclusive Walmart Duncan Donatello. I'm very excited to finally have him in my collection. I had the original Donatello. And what else do I collect with Ninja Turtles? Oh, I have all of the original Super Nintendo Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games. Complete in box and then graded. So I have those, except for Turtles in Time, which is weird, right? Because that's my favorite game. But I'm pretty sure that my box is not original. So I don't want to send that in, spend the money just to get it sent back. You know what I'm saying? So I need to stop being lazy. I just need to spend the money and just get Turtles in Time in all its glory, and just, I don't know, tell my bank account that, give me 90 days to recoup and we'll be back. So I think that's it as far as my Ninja Turtle. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it is, because it's a lot of Donatellos. It's a lot of Donatellos. I have all of my original vehicles, right? So like the Turtle Van and the Turtle Tank and the Technodrome and, all these miscellaneous little vehicles. I have all those. I never got rid of those. And I'm trying to think. Yeah, as far as Donatellos, I'm thinking through my shelves. Yeah, so it's a lot. It's a lot of statues, and it's a lot of fucking Donatellos. Except for the DreamX version. I did get all 4 turtles because that set is just fucking dope, so I just couldn't have Donatello by himself. And I ordered the last Ronin statue from Sideshow that'll be coming out in a couple months, and that's going to be massive. So I need to find space for that. And I got some other Donatello shit on the way. I don't know. It's all Donatello. I guess I'm a Donatello collector. I don't know why I'm playing around like I'm not. Then I don't really collect retro consoles, but I do. I guess I just have to have an emotional attachment to it. So I've got the Atari 400, the 2800. I've got a ColecoVision, an Intellivision, a Neo Geo, which, I think is important to have, absolutely. TurboGrafx. And then I've got the Famicom family and the Nintendo family. So, yeah, I kind of collect it, but I also don't. Because I'm running out of space. And I don't know where to put them. But my most recent and probably my last one was I bought a Channel F, which I had never heard of until I was watching Console Wars. No, it wasn't Console Wars. It was the other show where they were doing the history on the gaming, and I just thought it was important to have in my collection one of the first gaming consoles to use ROM, to have the pause button, and that nobody had heard of. And then I just thought it was really interesting that it was invented by a black guy, which I would have never had thought. I just, all this stuff is fucking Asian, and in America, I just would not have thought so. That was the last console that I've added to my collection, and if I was gonna get another one, I would get the Odyssey, because that was one of the first consoles. To I think it's important that we still celebrate the consoles that made where we're at today, I guess.
Yeah, I was watching something this morning before I went to work, and they were talking about Odyssey, and then right after that came Atari.
Yeah. And that's like a really cool history that like we don't have really going on with our gaming world now, because how does it work? The gaming developers, they make the game and then they sell it out, right, to the companies, whereas before, Atari made their own games, and Odyssey made their own games, ColecoVision made their own games, but then they made an adapter so that you could play Atari games. I mean, and that was like a shit show, right? You'd never heard of anything like that. Where now you can just play any game you want on any console. So it's not the same. You can play Sega games on a Nintendo. Either you were a Nintendo or you were a Sega. You were one or the other. You were one or the other, even if you had both in your house. You preferred one over the other. That's just how it was.
Exactly. Yeah, and with some of the games that they've come out with now, I think the first one that comes to mind was when they brought out Spider-Man. I think it was for PS4. They made it so it was only on that. You couldn't get it anywhere else.
Yeah, they started coming out with these exclusives, right? So I have an Xbox. And I have a Nintendo Switch because I'm a Nintendo girl. And PlayStation gamers, they're so adamant. Are you a PlayStation gamer?
No. I have one. I have 2 Xboxes and a Switch.
Okay, so I'm about to say some real shit. If you're a PlayStation gamer, it is what it is. But like, they're so pushy. Like, they're always like, well, why don't you have a PlayStation? Why don't you have a PlayStation? And I was like, why the fuck do I need a PlayStation for? Like, I'm happy with Xbox. They've got like a couple exclusives that I really want to play, but I'm not pressed to, like God of War or something like that, but I don't need to play it. And I think deep in my soul, subconsciously, I have a problem with PlayStation, the way that they came into the gaming market with Nintendo and Sega and, shit on everybody. So I'm just like, you know what, dude, fuck you, PlayStation. I'm cool. I'm a Nintendo girl. I'll always be a Nintendo girl. I don't need you in my life.
Yeah, I mean, even though I have one, I'm always been kind of partial to Xbox, even though I still love the Switch. I've even got a Wii. I don't play it too much, but I have one.
You had the Wii? That is one of the most iconic console, songs. I can remember many, many nights. Remember, I'm old, right? So, like, I lived in a condo, my condo, by myself for a while when I graduated from college, and the Nintendo Wii comes out, right? So I have to have this Nintendo Wii. And I just remember many nights of playing Nintendo Wii and then doing something else, but that fucking song would just play non-stop in the background. It's legendary. I love it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What was the first thing that you collected? What was the first Ninja Turtle thing you collected?
I would say that I started to lose my mind when it is I can't remember which year, but it was a Comic-Con exclusive set that I saw accidentally on eBay. And it's the 4 turtles. It's the statues by Sideshow, and it's they look similar to Kind of the cartoon version, the 80s, but not really. A little bit better than that. I can't think of it. It wasn't the original comics. Wasn't the movie, but they look similar to the 80s cartoons. And I saw this set on eBay accidentally, and I'm not going to say what I paid, but I contacted the seller and I was upset because I was like, why are you selling this beautiful set of turtles? I'd never seen it. I'd never heard of Sideshow either at that time. And he said he had a medical emergency and he needed some money. So I applied for like PayPal credit or whatever, and I got the turtles. I paid an insane amount of money, and once I put those turtles in a glass case, I was just like, oh my God, I could display so much turtle shit in this case. And yeah, it ruined me, but in a good way.
I tell you, you've got an iconic poster behind you too of the Ninja Turtles, it looks like.
This one, so this is actually an artist that did the 4 movie Turtles, but yes, I do have this, if I can show it. It's on the ceiling, that movie poster.
Oh wow!
From the first movie.
That is so cool.
The comic store, the comic book store, to get the Last Ronin, like the first issue or something like that for the Last Ronin, and saw that poster, and I was just like, why didn't I have this poster sooner? I had that poster as a child in my room, right? As soon as that movie came out, I had to have it, right? So I'm very excited that I'm able to get it back into a space that I spend a lot of time in.
Definitely, it's very cool. So I'm curious, and I know you probably have a really good opinion on this. How would you rate the movies, even from the original to where we are now, including the animated movies that they've done?
I would rate it from the 1990s movies 1, 2, and 3, just how they came out. Nothing. I think that's my whole vibe, right? Is nothing beats the original. The original set the tone, so it is what it is. I saw the 2007 animated one like 2 years ago, because in 2007 I was trying to do adult life things and I didn't even know. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was a good movie. I thought it portrayed, which is my biggest thing, right? Leonardo leads, Donatello does machines, Raphael's rude, and Michelangelo's party dude. So as long as we stay in those parameters, I'm good. But I didn't like how Donatello was basically non-existent kind of in that movie. He didn't have a big part. It was mostly about Leonardo and Raphael, which are neither favorites of mine. So that would be my only downfall. And plus, we didn't have Shredder. We didn't have our normal villain. So, it was a little out the box, but I get it. I enjoyed it. Michael Bay's, I know it sounds weird to say, but I didn't hate those movies. I didn't like how they looked. I can't remember right now because I'm not a super fan of Michael Bay movies, but I think the story behind the Turtles was similar to one of the stories we already had, as far as how the Turtles came to be. I don't remember, as far which Hamato Yoshi we were dealing with. So I didn't hate it. I just thought it was a little much. Somebody with an old soul, I was looking for something a little bit closer to what made me love the movies. So I didn't get an emotional attachment to the movies. I was just like, all right, that was some good action, but I didn't really care for it. What else was there? I know the most recent one was Rise that came out, and I'm not a fan of Rise, the cartoon series. I don't like that whole vibe they got going on. What are they, like, mostly in the future? They look like aliens. The personalities are a little much for me. Leonardo isn't even considered the leader, so I didn't think it was a bad movie. I watched it because I heard people say that it wasn't terrible and that it was actually pretty good. So I didn't hate the movie. Yeah, I didn't hate the movie.
You know, I agree with you as far as the way the movies are. You know, with 1, 2, and 3. And I agree with the criticism of Michael Bay's. I think he could have done it a little bit better. I mean, they weren't 8.5 feet tall, you know.
No, they weren't. They were little guys. They looked like fucking monsters. I was just like, Jesus. Yeah, it was a little bit much.
Yeah, I mean, and I felt like the way that he had the personalities down as far as for each character was pretty close. It was just the animation that got me.
Which one?
The very first Michael Bay Ninja Turtles.
Oh, you're talking about the CGI effects and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I can't really think of anything about the movie, it's unmemorable, and that's not in a good way. So I know that the turtle community has voiced their opinion on how much they're not a fan of the movies. So I'm really hopeful and excited, for Seth Rogen's movie to come out. I think Seth Rogen is going to bring some of that old school vibes to us, but also in adult humor, which I'm a fan of the corny humor, but I'm hearing Michelangelo might be a stoner, which I think is funny and fitting, as long as he's chill, so I'm looking forward to it. I hope he doesn't let us down. I don't need Donatello to look even more nerdier and sound dorkier every time. He sounded just fine in the original movie. We could have stuck with that. Why are we trying to make his voice get higher and higher and higher? Why can't he sound like a grown turtle, even though he's a teenager?
Exactly. And I can't wait for the reboot also, just because him being of that era, I think I hope he'll do it right and do it justice for the fans of the original.
I think so too. I think I saw. Well, actually, I'm a little bit confused because there was a trailer that came out, and the trailer, the animation looked legit, right? It looked cool. But then I saw like these drawings, and I was just like, oh God, I don't know, but I'm very hopeful, and it would be nice if somebody could just do a movie similar to the first one, just leave it at that. That's what we want to see. So who cares about the newer, generation of people, of kids or whatever? There's enough of us going around to continue to keep the Ninja Turtle. Plus, they've got the IDW comics. Sorry, my hair is all messed up. Which I haven't dove into yet, but I will sometime in this century. And they got the IDW comics for more of the dark and, more adult type stuff, which is why I'm dragging my feet, because I'm not really a fan of the dark parts. I grew up with the corny, funny cartoons, and that's what I think of the Turtles when I think of the Turtles. So they have all that. They don't need anything else. They don't need it. Just keep our Turtles where they were, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, it's kind of like what they did with Ghostbusters. The first and second ones were really good, and then they had a few lackluster things until Afterlife.
Yeah, and Afterlife was really good, and it was done right. I I feel like the saying has been around for a while. Like if it ain't broke, it don't try to fix it, right? Why are we trying to do too much? We end up just fucking it up. That's all we do.
There's no need to reinvent the wheel.
There isn't at all, but yet here we are.
That's it. So I know you said you're on Instagram, and I know you have it's not really a, was it a LinkTree? It's something similar to that.
Oh, yeah. My flow, it's the flow page or whatever. It's the same thing. And it's got all my stuff on there. I'm the Queen G22 across the board, TikTok, Twitter, whatever. I think I even have a Snapchat, which I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm old, I don't need all that kind of stuff. I've got a Facebook page, which it's a lot. So just my main one is Instagram. That's where my community is. So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So I appreciate you taking time out to discuss your collection and passion for all things Ninja Turtles, because I'm right there with you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me. I'm sorry I had complications earlier, but I'm going to use the excuse forever. I'm old, so it's like I'm bright right now. I've got these lights going on in the background, which I just set up, and I haven't really learned how to shut them off, but I love talking about turtles all the time, all day, whatever. So if you ever just feel the need to just get some turtle stuff off your chest, dude, hit me up.
I'll do it. I hope to do it again. It's been a lot of fun.
For sure, yes.
All right. Well, I hope you have a good rest of the afternoon, or here it's nighttime. So I'll definitely I'll shoot you an email with everything, and I'll try to get this uploaded to, I believe it's either Drive or OneDrive. I get them confused.
Okay.
And then I'll send it to you. That way you can have a full copy of it to,
Sure,
do whatever
so I
with.
can put this on my website.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I will do that.
All right. I appreciate it a lot.
Alrighty, I'll see you later. You have a good night.
All right. You too.